Iris gives 110% with everything that she does. She cares about the patients, so she goes the extra mile.
She's very passionate in her desire to help patients. I see a very strong sincerity when she communicates with both patients and their families.
She's a visionary, and that's never satisfied with status quo. And that is inspiring.
I've seen her on numerous occasions take medical students, residents under her wing, teach them, provide them opportunities.
But she's also a leader in every domain in which she enters. So Iris has made quite an impact, and she's done it herself.
I was born in Delaware, raised in the capital city, Dover, Delaware. My parents worked at these factories, and that's what most of the families there did. One of the most important things I think that my parents did for me that really influenced me profoundly is the purchase of a set of encyclopedias. I knew that that would be a major sacrifice, but that opened me up to a world outside of where I lived. And so I must have probably read every page in that encyclopedia. And so that's where my kind of intellectual curiosity came from. I think I must have been 8 years old or so. And my father was asking each of his children what we wanted to be. I hadn't really thought about it, but I threw out this answer and I said I wanted to be a doctor. I had never seen a Black woman doctor before. My first goal was to go to college. That was goal number one, get through high school and go to college and make it through college. While I had other opportunities, University of Delaware was in the state that I grew up in, and they offered me a full academic scholarship. We had probably 300 Black students on a campus of more than 12,000, 14,000 students. And for the first time, despite my achievements, there were students who assumed that I was there for something other than my ability. I realized this little superpower that I have, which is to really be able to buttress myself against some of what is going on around and keep a focus on a goal and to pursue that with vigor. I used those undergraduate times to really explore, to build a fund of knowledge, and to really understand what was happening in the world, in science. I did this fellowship at Columbia University. I put my heart and soul into that summer, and I really forged wonderful relationships. Research for me was something that was essential to how I was shaping my career. The idea of being a doctor and someone who was interested in this type of research never really occurred to me, but I just pursued my passion. My final year came around. I decided to go ahead and take the test, the MCAT. And so I shared with my mentor, Dr. Dennis. He insisted on seeing the list of schools. And he said, "This isn't good enough, Iris." I was like, "What? What do you mean?" You need to keep adding. And so I added a few more, and we took out a map. And I would try to do something very funny. I said, "Okay, well, what do you want me to do? Go here?" And it landed right here in California at Stanford. He was like, "Yes, add that one to the list." I added it to the list. And the rest was history.
I met Iris when she was a medical student. All Stanford medical students are noteworthy and are interesting, but Iris was exceptional. And so I began tracking her because I was interested in her, and she expressed an interest in radiation oncology, so that was a double hit.
One of the things I really wanted was to be able to know that I was making a difference in actual people's lives. That idea that we were always pushing the edge of using our science to be able to improve therapies for patients was amazing to me.
Iris is a great clinician, so she didn't need to be told anything twice. She just got it. She exhibited this innate quality she has of caring. And so when she's with a patient, you know that she cares about you because she looks at you and she listens to you and she integrates what you have to say. And she does that not just with patients, but she does that with all of her interactions. She entered at quite an interesting time when we were just developing a new program that has come to be known as the CyberKnife program or stereotactic radiosurgery.
The CyberKnife is a device that has a particular interest here at Stanford because it was developed here by a Stanford neurosurgeon, Dr. John Adler. And we had the very first CyberKnife in the world, and it revolutionized the treatment of brain tumors.
This device had this new idea of using what we call image guidance to deliver the radiation, a linear accelerator that was compact enough to be able to just hold in your hand rather than fill an entire room.
Traditional forms of radiation don't rely on high precision to deliver the radiation. The CyberKnife is able to deliver radiation with less than a millimeter of targeting accuracy. So it changed the way we treat many brain and spine tumors because patients no longer needed weeks and weeks of radiation and received their radiation in just a single session.
There was all this wonderful interest from patients across the world, and so we knew fairly on that we would need to operationalize a way in which we could bring this device to patients.
So we were instrumental in collecting the data and treating the initial set of patients. And now there are hundreds of CyberKnife machines all around the entire world that are treating patients with the technology that was originated here at Stanford.
Iris has always been an incredibly meticulous physician. I saw that in her role as a radiation oncologist, and that detail-oriented, data-minded person and aspect of who she is, she has brought to MD admissions as well.
I'm the Associate Dean for Medical Student Admissions, and in this particular role, I oversee the application process and give some sort of vision of connecting the mission of the school to the students who will actually matriculate.
There's a concept that you can't be what you haven't seen. Our goal is to ensure that every student who has demonstrated their academic capacities and excellence and leadership traits are welcomed here with open arms and able to succeed equally.
My own personal experience as someone who is first generation, underrepresented racial and ethnic group, and as someone who comes from a lower socioeconomic status, that one has absolutely framed my general approach to understanding that talent exists in this world, and it's up to us to tap into that talent.
Iris learned early on that the key to success is by inclusion and welcoming people to our community. And so she's very engaging in terms of community outreach and bringing people into the Stanford family.
I think there are unique challenges that many students have. Some students come from being underrepresented in medicine by virtue of their race or ethnicity, others by virtue of gender identity. Everyone should be able to find themselves in medicine. So widening that umbrella, opening up the opportunities is what diversity is about for me.
Every once in a while, you get to experience a moment in your life that changes everything. It was when I got the call that I had gotten into Stanford Med. I just phoned my mom in Sierra Leone, and I gave her the news, and we just screamed on the phone. Someone took a chance in me, but it is through your generosity that I truly get to live my dreams, to pave a path forward for my community so that things will be better than it was growing up.
She's an incredible mentor to the students, not only because of her personal success in the clinical arena, the scientific work that she has done, and then ascending into leadership roles to the highest rank as full professor. These are important accomplishments. And unfortunately, we don't have enough women of color in those roles for students to look up to and to seek mentorship from. Being in that position is not only symbolic, it truly is instrumental to guiding the way for others to do the same.
We know that not only the demographics of our world is changing, we need a group of students who are prepared to be able to to take care of that population of patients. And I hope that in my time in this role that we've been able to really bring in a group of students who are able to meet that need. So I feel incredibly honored that I have this wonderful team of people who are as committed or even more committed than I am to seeing that kind of future. Black radiation oncologists represent just 1.5% of faculty across the country. So I'm now embarking on really extending that history to really tell the stories that haven't been told in the last 25, 30 years. So to tell those stories will be really important to me.
It's hard to find role models that can do everything that Iris can do, to find the right balance between caring for patients to contributing to the university on a leadership level, and also being able to just remain a friendly and approachable person.
She's the person that stays late and the person that's first in the morning to make rounds. She's the one that remembers the names of all of the family members and gives them all a hug. She cares, and that is a wonderful, wonderful attribute.
There are some things that can only happen here at Stanford Medicine with the collaborations that are across the entire campus, whether it was robotics and physics and the clinical departments coming together. This is what has made Stanford Medicine an amazing place to be at.
When I think of the RISE Award, I think of which individual really personifies Stanford University School of Medicine. And certainly I cannot think of anyone more deserving than Iris Gibbs.